Dear friends, we are here today to talk about the unprecedented raid that America undertook in Venezuela and then captured the dictator of that country, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, Celia Flores. Now, the question is that was this raid in any way related to Operation Sindoor? And I ask this question because there is one commonality between Pakistan and Venezuela, and that is that both Pakistan and Venezuela use Chinese air defense systems. They use Chinese radars uh, as sort of eyes in the skies. And the reason why this question arose is because it's not as if relations between America and Venezuela have suddenly deteriorated. This relationship has been in a downward spiral since 1999, ever since the late Hugo Chavez came to power in Venezuela. And this was before actually 9/11. So this was 26 years ago. And since then, one has seen a terminal decline in American power all over the world. Now, of course, even today, America remains the sole big superpower of the world, but its power and dominance is nowhere close to what it used to be 15, 20 years ago. This was very evident in the way it withdrew from Afghanistan. Those shocking visuals were there for everyone to see. And the fact that Russia just walked into Ukraine and America across two administrations now has not been able to do much about it. So the question really is that how is it that America chose this moment um, to undertake such a it's a rate so audacious that it's unprecedented even by American standards. Now, of course, America is known to topple governments. It's not a new thing, but their modus operandi has been different in different countries depending on the situations. And even if you look at the example of, say, Iraq, it took them almost 9 months to locate Saddam Hussein. They occupied Iraq around March 2003, but it was, I think, only in December 2003 that they were able to finally capture Saddam Hussein. So obviously, when you are deciding on an operation like this, there are lots of factors that come into play. It's like 3D chess, because you're not only assessing the damage that you can cause to the other party or the things that you can do, but you also have to assess the risks involved at your end. What might be the casualties? What kind of damage you could face when you undertake this kind of an operation. And also, this is not President Trump's first term, so this is his second term. So it's not as if this is a result of some new leader coming in. But what did change in this 1 year um, is the fact that the Chinese defense system was tested for the first time during Operation Sindoor. And Operation Sindoor is a short conflict that took place between India and Pakistan in May 2025. It was triggered by the terror attack in India in Pahalgam. And the thing about that operation was that it is undoubtedly the most successful military campaign of the 21st century, because any military campaign is basically has some strategic objectives, and India achieved those objectives in a very short span of time with minimal damage at its own end. Um, and just going briefly to that operation and why it is significant, and could have led to things that happened in Venezuela. Basically, Pakistan knew that India is going to do something after the terror attack. Uh, but no one really knew like what it could be. But then India, on the night of 7th May 2025, India bombed nine terror sites, four in Pakistan and five in Pakistan occupied Kashmir, without the element of surprise. Now, it's difficult enough to hit a country with the element of surprise, but India did it without the element of surprise. So, uh, there was an indication about some degree of failure by the air defense system, that the Pakistani air defense system didn't really work very well. But then what happened after that was even, one could say, it was even more drastic. So, of course, India gave Pakistan an off the ramp. So, India said specifically that they are only hitting terror sites. They did not forget civilian targets. They did not even target military sites, because they wanted to give Pakistan an off the ramp. Because the objective here for India was not going to war with Pakistan. It was not to occupy any territory. Basically, India wanted to send this message that it's changing its doctrine of response to terrorism. That from this point forward, it's not going to make a distinction between state and non-state actors. And but Pakistan refused to take that off the ramp, and tried to send drones and loitering munitions and even ballistic missiles into India, targeting not just civilian places but even places of worship like the Golden Temple in Amritsar. And this went on for, I think, 2 3 days, and then India decided enough was enough. So then on the night of 9th May and early 10th morning, India completely decimated Pakistan's air defense systems. I mean, the Pakistani skies were naked, and it um, reportedly hit around 10 to 11 uh, air bases and military installations, and there's satellite images available of the damage. Now, of course, India is a responsible superpower, so India did not attack any civilian sites. It made sure that there is minimum collateral damage and that civilians are not hurt. um, and it made its point. But what was really an eye opener was the impunity with which India bombed across the length of Pakistan, and Pakistan just couldn't do anything about it. Now, in any military conflict, now India is one of the most powerful militaries in the world. It's often ranked fourth in the military power index. So no one had any doubt, no one has any doubt that in any conflict between India and Pakistan, India will always have the upper hand. I mean, uh, that is not in doubt. But it was just the sheer scale of dominance that perhaps took a lot of geopolitical analysts and observers by surprise, because at least on paper, even Pakistan is not a military lightweight in that sense. Like, even Pakistan is, say, ranked 12 or 13 in military power indexes. So it's not that it's a pushover state like that, but the impunity with which India just dominated Pakistan. I mean, it could have bombed Pakistan anywhere on that night, but again, India restrained itself, because the idea was not to cause maximum damage, and things like that. But the idea was to send a message across that terrorism is not going to be tolerated anymore. Now, but this was the first time that the Chinese weapon system was actually tested in a real time sort of fashion, and it seems to have spectacularly failed. Now, Venezuela, like Pakistan, also uses Chinese radars. So both the countries use the Chinese JY-27A radars, and Pakistan also uses their YSL series radars, while Venezuela is also using the JYL1 radars. So the thing is, both of these countries have do rely on Chinese equipment. Now, of course, you know, both Pakistan and Venezuela, it's not that they're only getting defense equipment from China, but clearly there is a commonality here. And perhaps after seeing what happened in Operation Sindoor and the manner in which India thrashed Pakistan, maybe that was one of the factors that led to this raid by America. Because let's not forget, I mean, air defense system in today's times forms a very important role in any country's defenses. And the thing is that if you detect something coming into your airspace, even moderate military powers can send a missile and kind of neutralize that threat. So the fact that American soldiers just flew into Venezuela, just captured the uh, the leader and just came back is quite telling. And there is a principle called Occam's razor, which basically means that sometimes the simplest explanation is the most likely one. And that's why it's not very far-fetched to think that this might have been one of the considerations in planning such a audacious raid. Now, of course, going forward, one will have to see whether this becomes a pattern with America, or whether this was a one-off. Now, of course, America is powerful, but it has its limitations. It cannot undertake these kinds of raids with um, many other powerful countries, but with countries that are much smaller, and countries that are possibly using Chinese equipment, you never know. And now, having said all of this, of course, one cannot pass a judgment on the entirety of Chinese military equipment based on these two events, because surely China is not exporting its best equipment to countries like Pakistan and Venezuela. But nevertheless, it does raise a serious question mark on their defense systems that they have been selling to other countries. And countries that have purchased Chinese defense equipment, or rely on them, will definitely have to assess their national security arrangements. And going forward, one will have to see where this goes. Will Iran be next? Is America going to take over Greenland? Um, we will know soon enough, I guess, what happens there. And of course, on another note, there is this bizarre obsession that um, American President Trump seems to have, with wanting to gain Indian Prime Minister Modi's validation, in his so-called role in the cessation of hostilities between India and Pakistan in May 2025. Now, of course, it's a well-known fact that Pakistan called the Pakistani DGMO called the Indian DGMO because they were in a, I mean, to put it mildly, in a pretty bad state. Um, but it's almost like, a jilted lover, like kind of longing and pining for someone's attention. Uh, but why that is, and it's also kind of a known fact that the tariff on India has nothing to do with trade, but it has to do with uh, India not towing the line, unlike you know leaders of a country like Pakistan who are literally kind of um, you know seen as so subservient to the American president. And even some European leaders were standing in line behind him, and haven't missed opportunities to flatter him. So maybe you know the US president felt a bit miffed that his friend Modi did not kind of toe the line or did not give him that validation. But that is a subject for another video. What may have led to uh, that happening? What may have led to this kind of a derailment uh, between the America India friendship and what that means um, for other countries, what that means for Australia, what that means for Japan, Philippines, South Korea, Taiwan, Indonesia, and pretty much the rest of the world, because America India relationship is seen as the most important bilateral relationship of the 21st century. So, but that is for another video. Keep watching the Australia Today. Thank you.